This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today you'll consider this as a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts, would you please go and subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? Leave a rating and a brief written review. This will assist others to be able to locate this podcast who haven't found it yet. I really appreciate it. I want to talk today about the subject of disruption. I'm not sure when you will be listening to this, but the USA and the world is facing a pandemic as I record this podcast. And disruption seems to be the order of the day. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, or what you do. There will be times in your life when you face disruptions. All of our lives, we have been handling interruptions and disruptions. But I'm talking about a major disruption that changes nearly everything about what you're doing and why you are doing it. I also want to, right at the beginning, give you what I think are a couple of great resources. Dr. Samuel Chand is one of my favorite leadership writers, and I love his material so much that I'm beginning to pre-order his books, and he is a prolific writer. And you could go back and just read any of his books, and I would believe you would be helped. But there is a newest one, the Sequence of Success, that I think you need to read. And then if you go to Jon Gordon, Jon Gordon's Positive University podcast, the one for March 29 of 2020 is an interview with Dr. Erwin McManus on pandemic, fear, and faith. I have found both of these to be tremendous helps today as we're facing a disruption. Before we really dive into that subject and what we're going to do and how do we get from where we are today to what is going to happen, Dr. Chand talks about in that book that one of the first things we have to do is we have to discover what kind of a lens are we using with which to see the world. Because it really matters what kind of a lens we use, because the kind of lens we use will then determine what we see. You can see that in the world today. If you're looking at life through a strictly a fear lens, then everything you see is going to be fearful. Your lens itself will shape how you interpret the world. And actually that is a quote that comes from Stephen Covey. That will shape the world as you see it. It's not that the world is shaping it, it is really the lens, or another way you might say it is your interpretation. We must look at that lens with which we see the world, as well as the world sees us. The lens itself shapes how we interpret the world. That's a quote from Stephen Covey. So today, as we talk about disruption, I want you for a moment to consider what kind of a lens am I viewing the world right now. If you're in a fear lens, I've already mentioned. If you're looking through a panic lens, then you'll see that. But let's talk about disruption, what it does. In times of difficulty and crisis and trial, and even conflict, people tend to either get bigger or smaller. There are people who become bigger. In that, I mean they rise to the occasion. They didn't go to school to study crisis management. They didn't go to school to learn how to be an arbiter of conflict. They didn't go to school and get a doctorate in disruption. They have just risen to the occasion through learning, through observation, through trust, through prayer, through perseverance. And then there are people who shrink back, hunker down, they sort of shrink. And so the idea is this thing that we're going through right now, you're either going to come out of it a better, bigger leader or a smaller, more frightened person. And it will not be the crisis that's happening that will determine it. It will be you yourself that determines that. Here's what I'm saying to you right now. Take a deep breath and make up your mind you're going to become a better leader. You're not going to be embittered. You're not going to shrink. You're not going to fall away. you're going to be the kind of leader that your organization, your family, your friends, your neighborhood, your community, and yes, my friend, your world needs. We need people who will step up, be accountable. It doesn't mean we have to like what's going on, but we embrace it and help together find answers. Times of disruption are the clearest lenses on which we will use to see what we are made of and how much we can be trusted. You see, the old saying that anyone can sail on a calm lake. It takes someone extra special, extraordinary, and talented, and a hard worker to lead in a storm. And so it is the times of difficulty and conflict, it is these times of disruption that really become the clearest lens to identifying who you and I are really deep down. It tells what we are made of. You see, if you were going into leadership, if you decided to be a leader, we do need leaders to help us during calm times, but we critically need leaders who lead us through difficult times. And my friend, it doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how many successes you have had. Right now, your people are looking at you to see what you are in fact made of. And not just that, not just a character test, but if you don't pass the character test, that you can lead in a difficult time, they will not only not trust you now, they won't trust you when things get back to normal. This is a crucial and critical time to stand up and be the leader you were called to be. It is in these difficult, transitory, unbelievably hard times that you will prove what you're made of, where your confidence is, can you learn, can you lead, and can the people trust you to be the leader they believe you are? People meet our attitude before they meet us. They see the expression on our faces and what we, how we come across, and in a split second, through observation, it turns into an opinion, which either opens or closes the doors of opportunity. There's never been a more critical hour than right now to prove your leadership mettle. Let's talk about how do you handle leadership going through a disruption. Let's talk for a moment about preparation. Again, I'm a person of faith, so I believe the first preparation is to get in touch with God. I believe in prayer. I believe in meditating on the scriptures. I believe in looking to Him. This is what will be the foundation. You have to get yourself spiritually and emotionally prepared. I think another part of the preparation is you need to reach out to your cohort group, to your colleagues, to your friends, to wise and trusted counselors and mentors, and seek their advice. All of our lives, we have been preparing for this moment. Now, we're going to find out there may be some holes in our preparation because most of us believe that we're going to lead and everything in the future is going to be like it has been in the past. I would hope now that we have kind of done away with that. The future is going to be unlike anything we have experienced in the past. And so we may have to prepare ourselves in a different way. But by preparation, I'm meaning this. I can't just rely on the body of information that I possess to this point. I can't keep living year after year on the same experiences that I've tried over and over again. I have to be willing and open to learn new things. I think another thing that you have to do during a disruption is quit trying to be the know-it-all, that you have all the answers. Everyone knows, my friend, you have not lived through a pandemic before, and it's okay to be honest. I don't mean frightened or scared or shrinking away, but to be honest, to say, I don't know that I have the answer to that, but we'll figure it out together. I'm going to ask. I'm going to give you what is the best information I have right now. And as that changes and I learn more about it, I will get back with you and we'll find a way to get through. I think Now is not the time to pretend like you know everything or that you have a handle or grip. And I'm telling you right now, leadership friend, if you go around continually noising it around that you have this all figured out, in the last 2.5 weeks, none of us could imagine where we are right now. So who knows what the next 2.5 weeks hold? Be honest. Tell them we're walking through this together. And as soon as we get best practices, as soon as we get some handles, if I receive better information in the next hour, I'll come back and I'll tell you. I think people will admire a leader who's honest. They already know we don't know it. We may as well be the ones to admit it. Now, it's always time to be clear as a leader, especially clear in our communication. But I believe right now as leaders, when we are communicating, and I'm not talking about just official communication pieces you're sending out, but right now is a time for clear-headed leaders. Don't give in to panic and emotion. Be clear, be direct, be empathetic. Your people are frightened. Let's be honest. We all have pangs of fear in what we're going through. Be empathetic. When someone runs around in your organization and says the sky is falling, don't throw them out or fire them or get rid of them. Just be empathetic. Yes, I realize this is stressful. This is tough. Let's take some time. Let's breathe. Let's pray. Let's walk our way through this. But it's a time for the leaders to be empathetic to the people around us. I think this is always a good thing, but now it seems to be on steroids, and that is the fact we have to be very simple. Right now is not to come up with a 100-year strategic plan. Today is probably not that day. I think the simple lesson today is how are we going to get through this day, this week, this month, and the next few weeks. Let's keep it simple. Let's marshal our thinking, our forces to just getting through and taking some simple steps. Now, as you would know, I am one of those old-fashioned list takers, and I know I've been criticized by it because I have 3 most important tasks that I'm trying to do every day and an evening ritual that I follow. But I think when you're going through a major disruption like we're facing today, I think for all of us it may be a good thing to help center us in the morning is to just list some simple priorities that we're going to try to do today, some communication strategies, some things we need to do both personally for our family, for our organizations. But I would list them because things are coming at us in very, very fast, and things are changing so rapidly that if there's some things you really want to get done, if you don't write a few of them down, I'm afraid in a day and age that we're living in right at present, those will get lost. While we're talking about writing it down, I think I want to close with asking you to write down a couple of other things when you're going through a major disruption. Write down the stories of grace and victory. Write down the stories so you don't forget them, that when we get through this, and we will get through this, that we'll have stories of things that happened, of people who invented things we didn't know could be invented, people who did heroic things, nurses and doctors who went above and beyond, people in your congregation, your not-for-profit, your business, who stepped up and did some incredible things and helped assist all of us getting through this. Don't lose those stories. Write them down. And then as the leader, you are your organization's chief storyteller. Tell those stories early and often. They'll encourage all of us. And that, my friend, is a part of the preparation that will help us get through the next disruption. Make no mistake, this is not the last disruption this world is going to see. So I think our stories will help to translate principles into real people in real time in ways big and small who stepped up and made a difference. I think it might be a good thing to write down some changes as well. One of those is, you have heard financial advisors tell now for years, have emergency cash, have cash for, and they'll name an amount, or for 3 months. And I think we're finding out that many people in society don't have enough cash on hand to make it through 3 days. And so when we get through this and life for time comes back to normal, it might be good for us to really get genuinely interested on building up a cash reserve. It may mean that we do keep certain things on hand. It may mean that there are some changes I need to make in my financial, my spiritual, my personal, and my business life. Don't think you'll remember them. Write them down. My leadership friends, these are disruptive times, but I believe in you. I believe wherever you are in the leadership continuum, you are there by divine appointment. You are right where you need to be for such a time as this. This is why you answered the bell to be a leader for such a day as this. And remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better than you think you are. You are doing outstanding. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this has been like a vitamin or a mineral for your heart and mind. And wherever you receive podcasts, please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom. Leave a rating and a brief written review. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, my friend, in the midst of all that's going on, have a great and blessed day.